Hi, Peter Boyles, of course, doing the morning show now down the hall, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. And this project that we've dubbed The Shoot. And I really want to thank Mark Crowley, as always, and Kelly Michaels and Brian Taylor for allowing us to do this. And it's been a wonderful series, and the feedback has been terrific. And this is a one-off. We have never done this, and this is literally or almost back to back to have these folks back with us. But the need is great. Conversations have been pretty intense on money. You recommend and to people in their lives about sobriety and what takes place in Denver's charter school that we did not know existed until Brother Jeff and I were told by the folks at Step Denver. Paul told us, by the way, did you know there's a high school that everybody that goes is sober? And we were really taken back by it. And we met this remarkable woman, and so this is one of those rare moments in The Shoot that will bring everybody back. The need is great. The money need is even greater. School year is coming to an end. Melissa Mouton returns. Doctor, thank you for coming back on the job and sitting with us again. I can't tell you how tremendous this woman is. And since Jeffrey and I began to shoot this project, you lost one of the kids.
Yeah.
Take a second, if you would, please.
Sure.
Talk about it.
Well, thanks, Peter. It's great to be here chatting
Yeah.
with you. Yeah, we do work that is life and death. And even though we help hundreds of families every year, every once in a while we have a student who dies from the disease of addiction. And that we had our most recent one about 2 weeks ago. So you're right, it was since we last shot the show, and it's tragic.
Can I ask just a couple things, because I know I mean, young woman, how old was she?
17-year-old, young woman, wonderful family, wonderful student, just got hooked on drugs, and she couldn't get out of it. So
what was the drug that took her life?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think everybody kind of guesses it could have been fentanyl. Yeah. Drugs right now are very contaminated with fentanyl. It's everywhere, and so you never know what you're going to get.
What makes you even more special is she's a physician, she's a doctor, and she has this incredible story about her own sobriety, but armed with that scientific knowledge about fentanyl. And people hear that all the time. What was a fentanyl death? And in fact, a friend of mine's friend lost their son to fentanyl. What exactly is fentanyl? Where does it come from? And why is it even worse than heroin?
Sure.
If that's possible to be worse than heroin.
Sure. I mean, fentanyl is a form of heroin. They're all in the opioid category. I think what makes fentanyl more dangerous is a couple things. One, it's more concentrated. It's more fast acting. Like there's more. If you have less fentanyl, it will do more damage than heroin. So
do
it's
kids
more
seek
dangerous.
out fentanyl?
Yes, some of them do. Yes, absolutely. And I don't know much about the drug dealing side and drug I don't know much about that, but evidently it's something they put in drugs so that because it's a better drug, it makes you feel better, and so they can sell more drugs. So they're putting it in everything now to become the better drug dealer, and you never know what you're going to get, and it's not manufactured in a lab scientifically.
How's it done?
It's done I don't know how it, I mean, I'm not an expert on this,
but you know what I mean.
It's evidently done by the cartels in houses and caves. I have no idea. Yeah. But it's not safe. Yeah. You never know what you're going to get. And unfortunately, the overdoses today they're skyrocketing because people are taking drugs that they have taken in the past, and there's more fentanyl in them, and they're overdosing. So. Yeah,
and my understanding of fentanyl is it's manufactured. A lot of it's manufactured in China, brought to the hemisphere, and then the cartels take it from there, and the cartels bring it in, and they put it on the street. And you're right. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're an adult or a kid. But my understanding is from talking to people who've been through it, you're seeking the bigger kick, the stronger high.
Yep.
And these guys have no idea what they're selling.
They don't even care.
And wow, that's so powerful, and don't care.
Yeah.
And so this young woman walks into it, and they find her.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tragic. She was wonderful. I mean, she just the most amazing family you can ever imagine. And, you know, nobody today, no matter where you live or who you are, nobody can escape the impact of drugs on our society right now. So
the disease doesn't care. I was told that years ago. Well, it doesn't care if you're white, black, green, straight, doesn't matter. You know, it just doesn't matter. Why do you think, and that we have become us, and these young people are out there, and it seems to be more and more, and we have really, this country has become, in many ways, a drug society. Do you have any whys on that? Yeah.
That's where I work. In many schools today, the teen culture is a drug culture.
Yeah.
Using drugs is just part of a way of living. And if you look at they do surveys on teens every year, Healthy Kids Colorado survey. If you look at it, you can see literally what percentage of kids have used illicit substances in the last 30 days. And the number would be astounding to people. I mean, not every kid, I'm not trying to say every kid is out there using drugs, but there is a level of normalcy that has been placed on the occasional use of substances. And for many teenagers, it's a phase and you go through it and it's fine. But for some teenagers, they get hooked.
You stay.
Yeah, and that's when, you know, it starts out fun. It starts out, all my friends are doing it on the weekend. They think it's normal. But then they seem to get on another path. And that's where 5280 High School comes in, is for those kids that get on this other path and start to really struggle, we can help them get off of that path.
Look, you guys, it's 5280 High School. It's a sober high school. Look at the web, 5280highschool.org. $10, $10,000. The need is great. We're in a push for money. I'm asking the doctor to come back. I've seen the miracles that have happened there. And it is amazing what's happening in our country when you really peel back the onion and you look at what's happened to, you know, another generation. And it almost seems like it's a reverse triangle or a reverse volcano, that the 60s, that it just does this now. And what once was, I started to drink at 13. I've asked myself a lot of times, well, if those drugs were there at 13, would I have done them? And the answer is probably I would have given it a try.
Yeah.
You were how old when you first?
I was old. Maybe my late 20s.
Wow.
By the time I have a different type of story. So it was my late 20s before I started to experiment, and it just fell like dominoes. You know.
Do you think
it
was just us? I've wondered about this, and I've had great non-explanations to, it's okay, man, just accept it. It's, it's who you are. But I remember my first drink, and I was 13 years old. And I always tell people all the pieces of the puzzle just fit. At 13, wait a minute, this makes me feel
good.
Yeah. Good, and made me feel everything. And also took away fear. And from there, it's a skyrocket. Just you work your way up the ladder. You were in med school. Wow. And you had already had an undergraduate degree from Mines, correct?
Well, I started at Mines, but I ended up graduating from CU Boulder.
Okay.
And then eventually made my way to medical school.
Yeah.
And my first
so
year...
you're not supposed to. Me, it was okay, but...
I know, it's so weird. Yeah. It's like you wouldn't picture that as in the same thing, but actually the rate of substance abuse is higher in the physician profession. And there's various reasons for that, but I fit all the bills. I mean, it's a high stress, but there's also this element of kind of self-sufficiency that exists in the medical profession and the legal profession. There's other professions where the rate of substance use is higher. So I fit right in. And my position as a medical student really allowed me to have access to prescriptions, you know, not illegally. It's not like anybody was trying to, but there was a little bit of, yeah, sure. If you have ADHD, sure, I'll give you that. You know, it was I did not have to go out to the streets to buy drugs. You know, I just had access to it because I'm smart and I could work the ways I could work to get, you know, what I needed to. So
I remember in a NA meeting when a guy said to me that if Elvis Presley had to get his drugs like the rest of us did, he'd have been dead 10 years before, because he had a physician or a series of physicians who wrote him prescriptions. He wasn't buying street dope. He was, and apparently that's when you're in a economic strata that you can afford your drugs come that way, and as opposed to some poor fill in the blank on the street buying God knows what.
Well, I think the pharmaceutical industry or the whole medicine field has really improved over the last 15 years due to the opioid crisis. I mean, I think it's much less so today than it was when I was in my early years.
Jeff talks about seeing, you know, Anglo housewives buying drugs now because of the doctors who, or because of the lawsuits, or because of fill in the blank. We can't just give you this.
Can't get the prescription, so you have to go out on the street.
Going on the street. Yeah. And Jeffy talks about that. We need collectively the help. The high school is, you have to see it to believe it, 5280 High School. Doctor will give anybody a tour. Her phone number, 303-525-2771, 303-525-2771. Worthwhile. It's beyond what anybody can imagine. These kids are holding on for their lives, and as you have said many, many times, hey, you can't beat the cartels. You know, you can't beat the mules, you can't beat the volume that's coming into this country, but maybe you can hold the line for a young adult.
Absolutely. I think, you know, we're working on a special project right now at the school, and I am actively trying to raise money for this project. It's a time-sensitive project, and I'm willing to give anybody a tour, chat with anybody. Feel free to reach out if you're interested to learn more, because we're maxed at our capacity. We've got class sizes that are too high. We've got staff without offices. We've got teachers sharing classrooms. We are maxed out at our capacity, but the need just keeps coming. And so I have a special project, a special opportunity where we can expand our real estate footprint and be able to fit more services and more staff so that we're not so packed. But I do need to raise some money. So
this is a wonderful woman. The cause is great. 303-525-2771. We'll plug it on the radio show on Saturday. But if you can help, please do. We'll be together throughout the summer and the fall and everything. And to Brother Jeff, I know he's busy, and same thing, Keith is busy, so they're not here, but the doctor is. To Mark Crowley, thank you. I'll see you down the hall, 9 a.m. this coming Saturday morning. For heaven's sakes, help these folks. We'll do everything we can. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching this.